Now on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. The man indicted of murdering an Edna cheerleader is expected to take a plea deal today. Those details just ahead. And new threats of a government shutdown, what it could mean for some federal workers if Congress can't reach a deal. Plus, a new deal for TikTok is expected today, what it means for the future of the app in the U.S.
And this morning, a cool front still blowing through the area is sparking up lots of scattered showers and thunderstorms. But after the rain is done, fall has officially begun. We'll look at that in the weather coming up.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and welcome to your Thursday morning. And as we get closer to fall, we get closer and closer to flu season.
Oh, that's right.
So before you shake hands or hug even today or this week, try to avoid that. Yeah, try to just avoid bodily contact.
Yeah, that's true, because we are starting to slowly approach the cooler, colder months, I guess I should say. Not really that much cold down on the coast, but we're going to look at all of the extended forecast later on Sunrise, because we got to deal with some rain before any kind of lovely fall weather gets here. You can see radar is showing all sorts of scattered shower and thunderstorm activity this morning. Thunderstorm activity, because if I turn on the lightning, you can see we have a fair amount of that in that little cluster headed up just south up. It's actually headed up right toward Galveston. Here's Galveston right there. But we also have a little bit of it heading towards, I guess, heading into Calhoun County right now. And right now we're mainly tracking this big cluster of heavy rain right here in northern Calhoun County / southern Victoria County, because this area right here at Palacios, well, we're going to look at those rain totals in a second. It's a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if a flash flood warning is issued somewhere around this area over the next half hour. So make sure to please be on watch for that. Otherwise, Victoria County, you can see the southern half of the county, southern half of the city even is seeing rain. Northern half, not so much. But we're going to continue tracking this radar all morning long, because the front is still blowing through, and that's going to spark up some more showers and storms, I'm thinking. That's why we still have an alert day in effect until 10 a.m. this morning. That's only going to go for our coastal counties, because, like I just said, y'all could see an additional 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches of heavy rainfall on top of what we already saw. So here's what we've seen in the last 24 hours. Some areas on the coast saw 3 to 5 inches of rain, right on the money what I was thinking. But one area, we're talking just west of Palacios, saw 6 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain, y'all. So if you're sending your kiddos at the door this morning, we're looking rainy obviously this morning, but it's going to clear up this afternoon, and we'll have those details next.
The next hearing in the Elizabeth Medina murder trial is scheduled for this morning. Today at the Jackson County Courthouse, Rafael Govea Romero, who was indicted on a capital murder charge, is expected to accept a plea deal. Romero is expected to plead guilty to murder and aggravated robbery, carrying both life sentences with the possibility of parole. He also faces a burglary charge with a 20-year sentence that could also run consecutively. He could also be eligible for parole after about 30 years. Elizabeth Medina was murdered on December 5th, 2023 in Edna. The attorney for Elizabeth's mother says she plans to read a victim impact statement at today's hearing before the judges decide whether to accept the plea offer. The hearing is scheduled to start at 10 a.m. A community prayer gathering is planned ahead of today's plea hearing. Anyone is invited to gather in support of Elizabeth's family at 8 this morning. Due to the weather, the site of the gathering will be at the Jackson County Service Building at 411 North Wells Street in Edna. Governor Greg Abbott appointed Amy Blanchette to the board of the Calhoun Port Authority. The board oversees operations and development at the Port of Port Lavaca Point Comfort, including budgets, infrastructure, and industrial projects. Blanchette, a Point Comfort resident, is a senior communications representative with Formosa Plastics Corporation. She also serves on the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture Board and is part of Port Lavaca's Waterfront Master Plan Visioning Committee. Seadrift City Council is searching for a new public works director. For now, Renee Rodriguez with Renee's Water Operations will step in as interim director while the search is underway. City leaders say they're hoping for a smooth transition, and Alderman Tracy Johnson says she's eager to get the position filled quickly so operations can keep running without a hitch.
Experience with the water department, but with the streets as well, and because the director is over both of those, and unfortunately in Seadrift we have streets that may not be perfect, but we're working on them. So I just would love someone who's very well-rounded.
Johnson expects it to take about a month for her to sort through the applications. A longtime Victoria County judge is seeking another term. Judge Dan Gilliam has announced plans to run for re-election to county court at Law Number 2 in the 2026 Republican primary. He served the community for 15 years and brings nearly 4 decades of legal experience. On the bench, he's presided over more than 100 jury trials and helped lead school safety efforts statewide. Judge Gilliam says expanding programs like the county's award-winning DWI court and continuing work on mental health initiatives remain top priorities if he's re-elected. The White House is directing federal agencies to prepare for mass firings that could be permanent if the government shuts down next week. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details.
This morning, with the government shutdown looming, Democrats and Republicans are in a standoff.
Democrats have drawn a line in the sand.
The White House warning federal agencies that mass firings could be coming, quote, in the event Democrats decide to shut down the government. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer dismissing the threat, writing, quote, Donald Trump has been firing federal workers since day one, not to govern, but to scare. This is nothing new and has nothing to do with funding the government. Republicans control the House and Senate, but funding bills require 60 Senate votes to pass, meaning at least some Democrats will have to get on board. Democrats say they won't back a funding deal without health care concessions. They're pushing to reverse Medicaid cuts from July's One Big Beautiful Bill, and they want to extend expiring Obamacare tax credits. The spending package would cost an estimated $1.4 trillion over 10 years. Democrats stress it's an opening offer, not a final demand. They were set to meet with President Trump this week, but Trump canceled the meeting, calling their demands ridiculous.
The country has been lectured all year about how Republicans are in charge. If the government shuts down, it will shut down because Donald Trump and Republicans in the House and the Senate have made that decision.
Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you think Congress will reach a deal to avoid a government shutdown? Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. The Department of Homeland Security is immediately increasing security at ICE facilities across the country. The move comes after Wednesday's deadly shooting at an ICE field office in Dallas. One person was killed and 2 others are in critical condition. In a post on X, DHS writes, quote, in light of today's horrific shooting that appears to be motivated by a hatred for ICE, Secretary Noem has ordered DHS to immediately begin increasing security at ICE facilities across the country. Officials believe the suspect, 29-year-old Joshua Yan, specifically targeted the office. President Donald Trump is expected to sign a new TikTok deal today. The deal would facilitate the sale of TikTok from a China-based company to a group of American investors. Once the deal goes into effect, TikTok's U.S. operations will be run by a new joint venture company. ByteDance, TikTok's current China-based owner, will hold less than 20% of the stock of the new company. The structure will comply with a bipartisan law passed in 2024 that sought to ban TikTok if the platform was not sold to U.S.-based owners this year. And here are some of the top headlines in the Cuero Record. Plow Day in Yorktown goes on despite dry conditions, and Cuero's Downtown Artisan Market gets a $1,000 grant. You can read these stories and more by visiting DeWittCountyToday.com. And the time is now 6:39 on our Thursday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, a critical shoreline is getting help to stand strong against nature's forces. Find out what's coming to a beloved wildlife refuge near you.
Former FBI Director James Comey could soon face federal charges. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details coming up.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say after the rain is done, we're looking like fall. So coming up next, I'll tell you just when I think all this rain right here will be all said and done. Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Friday Eve Thursday. Y'all get excited because fall is upon us, and we're going to be looking at that fall weather for the next several days. We'll look at that here in just a second, I promise, because before any of the fall fun stuff gets here, we still got to deal with rain out there. And we're looking at fall weather because the cool front is still pushing through, and that's what's sparking up all the thunderstorm activity this morning. Still no flash flood warning issued right around Matagorda Bay, but we're going to continue watching this cluster because it's heading southeast right towards that heavy area, that heavy pocket of rain that we had all last night. Like I said, 6 inches of rain. That's half a foot, y'all, that fell just right here west of Palacios overnight. So we're going to continue tracking that radar all morning long and all day long because you can see on your future tracker the front like I was talking about. This is actually technically the second front to come through us in the last 24 hours, with the first one coming last night. That's what produced the first line of thunderstorms. But the second one will be here probably 9 or 10 a.m. and that's what's going to end our rain activity. Here's 9 a.m. You can see still a few scattered showers out there, especially along the coast. But by 10 a.m., I'm thinking that the rain activity should start dying down. We'll be looking partly cloudy, I'm thinking, by noontime, not mostly sunny, but we will be looking mostly sunny for the afternoon time. As you can see right here, that front is going to be filtering in some drier air. And that sunshine today only heating us up to 88 degrees here in Victoria, which is a sight for sore eyes if you ask me, because we're only a degree below where we're supposed to be this time of year. And everyone else looking the same thing, upper 80s, maybe low 90s in our western counties. And other good news is our low temperatures are looking quite nice, mid and upper 60s. And if you're looking for more good news, our pollen is no more. Thank goodness, right? And actually for the next several days, we're going to be looking just like that, looking quite nice, like fall. And we'll look at why that is next.
This morning, former FBI Director James Comey could soon face federal charges, despite prosecutors and investigators determining there was no evidence to charge him. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details.
This morning, sources tell ABC News the Justice Department is preparing to ask a grand jury to indict former FBI Director James Comey on allegations he lied to Congress. It comes after the president publicly pressured Attorney General Pam Bondi to prosecute those who he sees as his political enemies, including Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and California Senator Adam Schiff. On social media, Trump called Comey, quote, guilty as hell, adding nothing is being done and we can't delay any longer.
We have to act fast. If they're not guilty, that's fine. If they are guilty or if they should be charged, they should be charged. And we have to do it now.
Prosecutors have been evaluating whether Comey lied to lawmakers during his congressional testimony related to the investigation into ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign.
I'm not sure I can apply a number scale, but I would say in the main it was done by the book, it was appropriate, and it was essential that it be done.
Now, the president ordering Bondi to install one of his former personal lawyers, Lindsay Halligan, as the new U.S. Attorney for Eastern Virginia, the same office that had been investigating Comey for 3 months. When Halligan reported to work this week, sources tell ABC News prosecutors presented her with a memo recommending that Comey not be charged with a crime, saying there was not enough evidence. Sources tell us Halligan is poised to ignore that recommendation and try to seek an indictment anyway.
Whatever the proposed indictment is, even though we haven't seen it, even though we haven't read it, even though it hasn't been published, we know it must be extremely, extremely weak and without merit.
The statute of limitations to seek an indictment against James Comey runs out next week. Comey's attorneys have declined to comment. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
The Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program is stepping in to protect one of our most fragile coastlines at Aransas National Wildlife Refuge. Crews will soon build a breakwater just offshore to calm the waves rolling across San Antonio Bay. The project aims to slow erosion at Dagger Point, a bluff where water has been eating away the shoreline and even toppling old oak trees. Construction begins in October and should wrap up in about 9 months. Refuge leaders say visitor access won't be affected during the project. And here are some of the top headlines in the Port Lavaca Wave. Calhoun County ISD approves a budget with almost $3.94 million, with an almost $3.94 million deficit. And a Seadrift homeowner has chosen an alternative material for part of its construction. To read these stories and more, go to portlavacawave.com. The time is now 6:46 on our Thursday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, we learn about a pumpkin patch. We'll be right back.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the 7-day forecast just a few moments ago, and you saw exactly what I was talking about, how our fall weather it's finally arrived, y'all. We've been waiting for a long time, I think it's safe to say there. And what I'm talking about is our highs the next several days just going to be sticking around 90 degrees, maybe low 90s, maybe mid 90s in our western counties. So still a tad hot over there, but we're looking at our low temperatures real nice to us. 60s for the next several days. And you notice right here on Tuesday, we're back in the 80s for a day. That's thanks to the winds. You see there's a little bit more of a northerly vector right there. That's because another system will come off of the mountains. Well, we'll look at that here in just a second, because I hope you're all ready for fall, because yesterday, Wednesday, it was still summertime. Here is yesterday's highs reported, 101 in Carson City, and even 100 was technically reported in Port Lavaca. So I think it's safe to say it's time for a change. And here's your temperatures for tomorrow, high temperatures. You can see today I was saying upper 80s for most of us, maybe low 90s in our western counties, but by tomorrow we'll have lots of sunshine and that'll heat us up about a couple degrees. Thinking low 90s for most of us, but maybe mid 90s right there in our western counties. But other good news is we're looking quite nice for the morning times. Looking at lows Saturday morning right here, mid and low 60s, maybe rising a couple of degrees for the rest of next week. But I did tell you that it's going to cool down a little bit on next Tuesday. That's because there's a low system right there that'll come off the mountains, and that'll send us, not a front, but it will send us some more northerly winds to keep us a tad cooler. And we'll look at all of that and more later on Sunrise.
I'm now joined by Pam Yance with First United Methodist Church here to talk to us about their pumpkin patch. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So this is a beloved pumpkin patch in this community. We look forward to it every year. What do we know? What do we need to know about this year?
Well, it's our 33rd year that we've been providing this outreach to the community. October 4th, we will be receiving 3,000 pumpkins at the church in downtown Victoria, 407 North Bridge. We invite the public to please come and help us unload 3,000 pumpkins. It will officially open on October the 5th and be open through the end of October. We have special days where we'll have popsicles in the patch, we'll have paws in the patch, we're going to have praise in the patch, a kids fest in the patch. So activities throughout the month of October, as well as hosting close to 1,200 students, kindergartners, each morning, Monday through Thursday.
Wow, it's a big workload. And are y'all still looking for additional volunteers?
Always looking for additional volunteers. We provide stories in the patch each morning during the week for the kindergarten kids. We need storybook readers, people to work at the patch, as I said, to help unload all those pumpkins. Always looking for volunteers. And this money and the outreach goes back into the community. Last year we provided close to $15,000 to 9 different nonprofits in the community. Most of them you'd be familiar with, such as VCAM, Perpetual Help Home, CASA, Midcoast Family Services. So all of these, and these people come back and volunteer their time at the patch each year as well.
Yes, and I just love going to the patch every year. I'm excited that there's going to be a pet event. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I'd have to look. You can go online and look for the exact date. I believe it's October the 11th, and it'll be at 10 a.m. in the morning. Paws in the patch, and you can bring your pets down there.
Just for photos?
Yes, photos. Oh, that's what the patch is all about. That and our pumpkin bread.
Oh, yes.
Everyone loves the First United Methodist Church pumpkin patch bread. Made locally and sold there in the patch. Another part of our fundraising efforts, and that money again goes back into the community.
Well, we are looking forward to the turn of the season for the pumpkin patch, and people can volunteer and contact the United Church.
Yes, First United Methodist Church. We have Facebook. They can call the church. We have an Instagram page and a website.
Excellent. I love that y'all are on Instagram.
I do too.
Well, thank you, Pam, so much for everything you do and for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, coming up, don't go anywhere. News to know before you go. As famine and attacks continue in Gaza, the leader of the Palestinian Authority is addressing the UN General Assembly remotely today. The Trump administration is barring President Mahmoud Abbas from the U.S. by refusing him a visa. Abbas's speech today comes after a UN inquiry concluded Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Israel denies that and says it's acting in self-defense. The Trump administration presented a peace plan to end the war in Gaza to Arab leaders on Tuesday. A source says a 21-point plan included the release of all hostages, a permanent ceasefire, as well as a proposal for Israel gradually withdrawing from the Gaza Strip. Sources in the area say the regional leaders endorsed large parts of the plan but made suggestions on what provisions they want added. Ford is recalling over 115,000 pickup trucks that may have a defect to cause drivers to lose steering control. The recall includes 3 models in 2020 and 2021 production years. Those models, the F-250, the F-350, and the F-450. Federal safety officials say the upper shaft of the steering column could detach. Ford estimates only about 1% of the recalled trucks have the defect. The De Leon Club of Victoria is inviting the community to celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month. The annual Hispanic Heritage celebration takes place today at Texas A&M Victoria. It starts with hors d'oeuvres at 6:30, followed by entertainment and a program presentation. This year's honorees include Joe Garcia, Amanda Martinez, and Commissioner Danny Garcia. In case you missed it, our Crossroads Football Live Band of the Week was the Shiner Comanche High School Band. Which Crossroads band will take the title this week? Make sure you submit your nominations. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And now let's get a final look at our forecast with Parker. Parker, do we need to worry about foggy roads or flooded roads? What do we need to think about on our commute?
You know, if you're going to be traveling this morning, the only thing I need y'all to be thinking about, or at least be cautious about, is the roads. They are wet right now, although it's not really raining too much in our inland counties. We'll look at that radar in a second, but you can actually see right here on the Victoria camera what I'm talking about. You see right there, right near the bottom of the screen, this is one of the parking lots near the Victoria Emerging Technology Complex near Loop 463, which is right there. This is Lone Tree Road. See how the road is wet? All of the oil that was stored in the ground, like from cars passing over it, that's kind of come up out of the ground. So roads might be a tad bit slippery. So just y'all please stay safe on the roads this morning. 73 is what we're starting at in Victoria. The front hasn't fully come through just yet, and that's why you can see everyone's still in the 70s right now. Do have a little bit warmer temperatures down near that warm Gulf waters, but still kind of cooling off thanks to the rain. But if we look at North Texas, you can see they're in the 50s this morning and the 60s up there near Wichita Falls. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this is the last morning that we're in the 70s, at least for a good amount of time, all thanks to the front that is still blowing through. And here it is. You can see the front's right about right here, right where my hand is. You can see a couple showers trying to develop north of that, but the front is still sparking up all sorts of heavy shower and thunderstorm activity, all of it along the coast this morning. And we're still tracking this big, heavy pocket right here, headed up towards Palacios in the next about 20-30 minutes or so, because y'all have already received 6 inches of rain right around Palacios. So that's why we still have an alert day in effect until 10 a.m. for our coastal counties, because y'all can see an additional 1 to 2 inches of heavy rain, so please stay safe with that. But after the rain is done, we're looking for sunshine this afternoon, bringing us a high of 87 in Port Lavaca, a bit warmer Victoria, 88 today, and about the same thing in Cuero, 89 today. So y'all get out there and enjoy it, because fall is officially here, and I think it's here to stay.
Thank y'all for being with us this morning. Join Shana, Don, Maclovio, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Make it a great Thursday.